Добрый день, дорогие друзья! Мы сегодня рады приветствовать в нашем Нирмал Dhаме известного финского музыканта, члена группы Rasmus, хорошо известного во всем мире. И хотели бы сегодня с ним поговорить о некоторых тонких и животрепещущих вещах, которые могут быть важны для каждого человека, если он является искателем истины. И начнем, пожалуй, с такого вопроса. Каждый из нас, несомненно, любит свою родину. И спрашивать, любите ли вы Индию, если вы занимаетесь хаджи-йогой, тоже, полагаю, излишне. А можете ли вы в двух словах сказать, вот за что вы любите Финляндию и Индию? И чем могли бы обогатить друг друга эти две совершенно, будем говорить, разные культуры?
Eero, most welcome to our holy land of India. First of all, good to see you. Eero, we are beginning this interview and we're just hoping to feel, I use the word feel, that how you are feeling to be a part of this mass realization program. Is called Sahaja Yoga and you're enjoying this country. We have few questions. We wish to know that how you are feeling after self-realization, before self-realization, how's your everything. So we need the permission by Mataji and we will begin this interview. Everyone loves their homeland. You love your homeland, definitely, that is your mission. But when you see yourself and you see India, what all similarity you see and what kind of culture differences you see and what kind of feelings you have for India and your country, Finland?
Okay, so good question. I think one of the strongest things I feel in India is that, generally speaking, the public people, they still have this very great respect for the innocence and for the qualities of Sri Ganesha. And this is something that is it's actually very important for any society. And in India, it has been always like kind of visible for me that people respect the innocence and they understand the maryadas, the boundaries of innocence. And it's been also good for me to learn how people carry those qualities inside.
Примерно тот же вопрос касаемо музыки. Как она пришла в вашу жизнь? Как вы росли в ней? Что вы любите в западной и индийской музыке? И как они взаимно дополняют друг друга в вашем сердце?
Well, it's a kind of same question which we have asked the differences and love of the two different countries, your nation, Finland and India. Same with the, regarding for the music as well, where like, how do you feel about music, like two different nations, two different countries, and there are like Western music also, Indian music also. So, what's your compliment to each other?
Well, I've been listening to classical Western music since I was a very small child, because my parents they had a record player, they had many records, so I was introduced to that music like Vivaldi and Mozart and Bach like quite early. But then I started to discover Indian music later in life. At the time when I was introduced to Sahaja Yoga meditation. And then I started to understand that, okay, there is a whole variety of instruments that are somehow, they have a, you can say like DNA of the Indian music culture. And they create totally different kind of classical music in India, and they have different rules. They have a lot of improvisation, but the improvisation always happens in a raga. That is the scale of that particular feeling or particular tone. And that was the first time in my life when I heard that, okay, one piece of music can be like 45 minutes long, and they're just like the instrumentation change much, but the raga it keeps on repeating and improvising over and over. So that was very interesting concept for me. And then of course I got introduced to bhajans, like devotional Indian music, to semi-classical music in India, and also the South Indian classical music through the kuchipudi dancing and the singing and those instruments also, like mridangam and the beautiful.
That sounds good. Yeah, like a lot of experience you have with the music, with the background, with when you listen about ragas to Indian instruments. This sounds really good.
You have to
Yes,
hold it close to him.
not so important because his voice is very good.
No, your question.
Yeah. Вы в группе Rasmus с самого ее основания, насколько я знаю. А вы уже в те годы практиковали йогу или это пришло к вам чуть позже?
You were a part of Rasmus band. So you started Sahaj Yoga. Did you started Sahaj Yoga before joining the band or after joining the band? If after joining the band, how it impacts your career and your own music culture?
So I have been playing in the Rasmus since the beginning of the band. So that was in 1994, and I was only 14 years old child at that time. So we basically started the group in school, and then I found Sahaj Yoga later, like around 98 or 99, and I was 18 or 19 years old that time. And of course, like when you're a teenager, your identity and your whole personality is growing up, and you start to understand like who you are, where you come from, and what you may be going to be in the future. So I think that of course that was like very influential time for me. But when I found Sahaj Yoga, it happened through a friend who was already meditating at that time. He invited me to come to the library. We had a meditation program there, and I had the first glimpse of like that meditative experience, which felt good. And then I somehow started following, I went again and again to the library program, and I started to kind of establish the feeling of being in the thoughtless, being in meditation. So it felt good, and I wanted to do more. And meanwhile, I also realized that part of me started to become more maybe self-confident, and I started to understand certain things about my spirituality and how the spirituality is actually everywhere. It's in our relationships between our colleagues. It's between all the relationships that we have. So I started to kind of understand that yes, there is a deeper meaning into being together, communicating, sharing the joy together, sharing the music together, sharing these moments that have a lot of vibrations inside them. And then this understanding came from me from Sahaj Yoga practice.
Sounds very good.
Выпадала ли вам когда-нибудь возможность общаться со Шриматаджи лично? Может быть, если это было, может, она что-то советовала вам, как практиковать йогу и при этом быть музыкантом, потому что это как-то связано все равно. И за что вы больше всего ее благодарите в своей жизни?
Did you have an opportunity to communicate with Shri Mataji? Did she give you any advice about Sahaj Yoga? What do you think that if you wish to thank Shri Mataji, what would be?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank Shri Mataji for so much in my life. Like I think that I have really found a way of existing and trying to keep the balance only because she has given this experience of self-realization for me, and I have somehow understood that everything starts from the spirit, and when Kundalini comes up, like you get connected to your spirit. that's like the most important knowledge that you can have in this life, from my point of view. But when I have been in situations a few times where I was on the stage and we were presenting something for Srimataji from our country, or I was giving some present, or we were doing namaskar. One time we were presenting the Magic Flute opera in Kannada Johari, and we also did namaskar in front of her. And but I remember that she didn't personally talk to me. She didn't personally like give a personal advice for me, but all the same, like I always felt very peaceful in her presence, and I appreciate those memories a lot in my heart.
It's very good. We all say thank you to Srimataji for those. Definitely.
More, we can say more people to Srimataji. Да?
Yes.
Любой артист или группа топового уровня всегда имеет напряженный график работы, репетиций, значит, концертов, поездок и так далее. Не могли бы вы сказать, как вы поддерживаете свой внутренний баланс? Ведь не просто найти даже свободное время для того, чтобы почиститься, привести себя как-то в порядок, потому что вы всегда путешествуете со своей группой, как-то даже отрываться от друзей не всегда получается, может быть.
Eero, this is a very interesting question related to your job and work. For any artist who is at their highest in their career, you definitely have a very busy schedule, busy, in your creativity and all. Could you tell us, like, how did you, in your teenagerhood, in your 20s and 25s, like, how did you manage and balance your career, your music and your inner balance, and then you got some time for your practice and going deep in your cleansing yourself, and it's just a point that what were your bandmates were telling you and asking you when they see you doing this, in a meditative mood, or you are closing eyes and opening hands, and they must have that kind of question. So would you please share those experiences with us?
Yeah, so in my early 20s, it was the time when we were putting a lot of effort into making the band become known in Finland, and a little bit also outside Finland. So it was very busy time, of course. But at that time already I had been living with yogis together in an ashram, with like a Yuva Shakti ashram. We have been meditating every day together, so collective meditation was part of my life. And I had the idea in my mind that I want Sahaja Yoga to be there, the Sahaja Yoga practice to be there, to give me that support and give me that kind of balance. And I understood the value in the thing that you frequently do the meditation. So at that time there was no things that would be kind of slow me down from having the idea that okay, Sahaja Yoga is going to be part of my life for a long time. And around 25, 24, I was already married actually with a person who is also meditating frequently in Sahaja Yoga. So that also gave some stability to my life, and of course she's very important also in supporting my Kundalini awakening. So actually when you're married in Sahaj, when you're married with a person who also practices Sahaja Yoga, it's like a two Kundalinis working together towards something. Yeah.
Интересно, ваши друзья по группе когда-нибудь имели желание получить самореализацию, может быть, спрашивали вас, просили научить медитировать?
Did you get time to share your experience with your bandmates, or I would say that they got chance also like you to go deep into this meditation, and have they started practicing this Sahaja Yoga meditation?
At the time when I was starting my Sahaja Yoga path, I think my bandmates, they were like, because for them it felt like quite weird or quite different from anything that they have seen. So then they were a little bit kind of teasing me about it, but not in a nasty way, in a way that was like kind of making fun of me and kind of testing my ego a little bit about it. So it was quite funny, but I also took it in a kind of way that okay, they are feeling like it's something different that they have seen before, so they just want to see like how I react. But then they realize like, okay, he's actually quite serious about it. He's been doing it for many years. And then sometimes they even ask me like, hey, let's have a meditation together. Like show us how we meditate, and let's relax, and so a couple of times they have the meditation experience with me, and of course I felt really happy about it. And then like they actually also started to say to me like, oh, like this meditation feels like quite powerful in a way that you relax everything, and we like the feeling. But I'm the only one who is kind of frequently doing the meditation of Sahaja Yoga in the group, and we are 4 people.
Very nice.